Welcome back, learners. Let's continue with our discussion on the topic Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So, what is the Russian Revolution? In October Revolution of 1917, socialists took over the government in Russia. The fall of monarchy in February 1917 and the events of October were termed as the Russian Revolution. The Russian Empire in 1914. In 1914, Russia was ruled by Tsar Nicholas II and its empire. The Russian Empire included current-day Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, parts of Poland, Ukraine, and Belarus, stretching to the Pacific and comprised today's Central Asian states as well as Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. The majority of the population was Russian Orthodox Christianity. Economy and society. At the beginning of the 20th century, the Russian population was dominated by agriculturalists who used to cultivate for the market as well as for their own needs. At St. Petersburg and Moscow, they were the prominent industrial areas. Craftsmen undertook much of the production, but large factories existed alongside craft workshops. In the 1890s, more factories were set up and foreign investment in industry increased. Large factories were supervised by the government to ensure minimum wages and limited hours of work. Workers were divided into social groups. They were also divided by their skill. Despite division, workers united to stop work when they disagreed with employers about dismissals or work conditions. Peasants cultivated most of the land, but the nobility, the crown, and the Orthodox Church owned large properties. Nobles got power and position through their services to the Tsar. In Russia, peasants wanted the land of the nobles. Socialism in Russia. Political parties in Russia were legal before 1914. In 1898, socialists founded the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, which respected Marx's ideas. Some Russian socialists felt that the Russian peasant custom of dividing land periodically made them natural socialists. Throughout the 19th century, socialists were active in the countryside and formed the Socialist Revolutionary Party in 1900. The party struggled for peasants' rights and demanded land belonging to nobles be transferred to peasants. The party was divided over the strategy of the organization. According to Vladimir Lenin, in a repressive society like Tsarist Russia, the party should be disciplined and should be controlled by the number and quality of its members. Mensheviks thought that the party should be open to all. A turbulent time, the 1905 revolution. Russia was an autocracy, and even at the beginning of the 20th century, the Tsar was not subject to parliament. During the revolution of 1905, Russia, along with social democrats and socialist revolutionaries, worked with peasants and workers to demand a constitution. For Russian workers, bad times started from the year 1904 as prices of essential goods rose and their real wages declined by 20%. Workers went on strike demanding a reduction in the working day to 8 hours, an increase in wages, and an improvement in working conditions. The possession was attacked by the police and the cock sack when it reached the Winter Palace. The incident known as the Bloody Sunday started a series of events that resulted in the 1905 revolution. During the 1905 revolution, the Tsar allowed the creation of an elected consultative parliament or Duma. After 1905, most committees and unions worked unofficially since they were declared illegal. The First World War and the Russian Empire. In 1940, war broke out between two European alliances, Germany, Austria and Turkey, the Central Powers, and France, Britain and Russia, later joined by Italy and Romania. This was the First World War. The war became popular, and as it continued, the Tsar refused to consult the main parties in the Duma. Support wore thin. The First World War was different on the Eastern Front and on the Western Front. Between 1914 and 1916, Russian army lost badly in Germany and Austria. The Russian army destroyed crops and buildings to prevent the enemy from being able to live off the land. The country was cut off from other supplies of industrial goods by German control of the Baltic Sea. Railway lines began to break down by 1916. For the people in the cities, bread and flour became scarce. By the winter of 1916, riots at bread shops were common. The February Revolution in Petrograd. Petrograd city is divided among its people. On the right bank of the river Neva, workers' quarters and factories were located, and on the left bank, fashionable areas such as the Winter Palace and official buildings. Food shortages deeply affected the workers' quarters. On the right bank, a factory was shut down on February 22. Women also led the way in strikes, and it's called the International Women's Day. The government imposed a curfew as the fashionable quarters and official buildings were surrounded by workers. Duma was suspended on 25th Feb. The streets thronged with demonstrators raising slogans about bread, wages, better hours and democracy. The government called out the cavalry, but they refused to fire on the demonstrators. Soldiers and striking workers gathered to form a Soviet or council in the same building as the Duma met, and it's termed as the Petrograd Soviet. Soviet leaders and Duma leaders formed a provisional government to run the country. Russia's future would be decided by a constituent assembly elected on the basis of universal adult suffrage. Petrograd had led the February Revolution that brought down the monarchy in February 1917. So, we have reached the end of our discussion. Hope you found that helpful. Now you can visit EduRev to attempt the respective test so as to check your understanding of the topic. You can also find more amazing content on other subjects like maths and science and whatnot. So what are you waiting for? Go and check it out. Also, stay tuned for more amazing videos. Thank you.